Well, Senator, we are following that law. Those offices that you referenced are still open and functioning and providing their duties as required, but they have been right-sized. Many times the Office of Civil Rights and Civil Liberties, or the Ombudsman Office, which you and I visited about before, had grown quite expansive. They were used as a political tool, suing and attacking each other and censoring individuals and not doing the job for which they were created. So we've right-sized them, put them back on mission, and if there would be an instance to where notification is required, I certainly will follow that.
What's up, patriots? Welcome back to Right View Nation, the home of common sense American values, and the last damn place on earth that still believes in truth, law, and sovereignty. Now buckle up, folks, because we've got one of those DC moments where the mask slips, and we see exactly how bloated, broken, and backwards our government spending and priorities really are. Today, we're diving deep into a confrontation between Senator Gary Peters and Secretary Kristi Noem, a moment that reveals just how out of touch, hypocritical, and financially reckless the DC swamp has become. So here's the setup. Senator Peters comes out swinging, not to demand stronger border security, not to stop the flow of illegal immigration, but to criticize the cost of building the southern border wall. Now listen, folks. This is the same wall that would actually protect our nation from cartels, drug smugglers, and human traffickers. You'd think that should be a top priority, right? But no. Senator Peters decides to mock the wall, saying drug cartels just use ladders and ropes to get over it. I mean, really? These people are more interested in defending the cartel's ingenuity than defending American sovereignty. You want to talk about national embarrassment? There it is.
We'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you again, Secretary Noem, for being here. I just want to follow up briefly with Chairman Paul's questions about the cost of the wall, the billions of dollars that are going to be put forward. We do have to have accurate numbers so that we could look at that for funding it. But I would hope you also take a look at all of the cost of a wall, because there are a lot of other secondary kinds of defenses you have to put forward. I was at the wall. I've been with security folks. They tell me that a lot of the cartels have designed very sophisticated technologies to get over the wall. They're called ladders and they're called ropes. So a wall doesn't really do the job if there's not a lot of other background technologies there. So you just can't put out a cost for the wall. That's money that's not going to be as effective without everything else. So let's have a discussion about that. For the first time in U.S. history, the federal government, at the direction of President Trump, is moving immigrants apprehended and detained in the United States on civil immigration charges to Naval Station at Guantanamo Bay, which I know you're very familiar with. In March, I traveled to Guantanamo Bay with several colleagues to have a firsthand examination of the detention operations underway. And I certainly have serious concerns about the cost involved there. To date, can you tell us the total cost for detaining individuals at Guantanamo Bay?
You want the cost per individual?
Do you have that?
I do not have that with me today, sir. I can get that for you.
Well, I do have a number. Do you know how much it costs to hold an immigrant in ICE detention facility in the United States? Do you have that number?
Now, are you talking per day? 100 and I believe the last estimate that I got was $142 a day, around in that approximately, per day.
Yeah, but it's close to what I'm understanding. I understand it's $165 per day, so it's in the range. I'm still waiting for detailed financial information from this administration from my time to Guantanamo Bay. In fact, a letter with Ranking Member, or Chairman Paul and the Ranking Member together, we wanted more information on the costs there. When I was there, the 2-month cost estimate for operations was $43 million when we were down there talking to the officials there. And that does not include transportation to and from the island. We find that people are sent to the island and then they're sent back to the United States again before they're sent out. I'm not sure why we have all those costs. We have plenty of ICE facilities to keep them here. Why you have to send them there and back. And on the day that I visited, there were 87 people in custody. And my understanding is that's a pretty normal number. At that time, at least. So my back of the napkin calculation, we're waiting for your numbers, is that it's costing about $100,000 a day to keep someone at Guantanamo Bay. Man, this is like ripe for Doge. Why is Doge not down there? We're spending $100,000 a day to keep someone at Guantanamo, and we fly them down there, we keep them there a while, then we fly them back to the United States. or we could keep them here for $165 a day. I think that's kind of outrageous. So, I'm concerned by the staggering cost of this, and I would hope, Secretary, you could commit providing this committee a detailed breakdown of the total cost of that operation there. There were just a sea of empty beds. There was all sorts of security folks and nobody in those beds, which is why it's so expensive. So Chairman Paul will probably use this on his Festivus report later, I'm sure, of outrageous government spending, and I'll look forward to seeing that. Secretary Noem, are you familiar with Section 872 of the Homeland Security Act of 2002?
It sounds familiar, sir. You'll have to remind me the topic, yes.
Well, Section 872 requires you, as Secretary, to provide a 60-day notice to Congress
yes.
of any creation, deletion, consolidation, or alteration of organizations within the department that are not required in statute, which must include an explanation for the rationale behind any charges. It also prohibits you from making any changes to offices in the status. So my question for you is, why have you not provided notice to Congress of the changes you are making at the department? And will you be doing so in the near future? And will you include intended reduction in forces in that? For example, you've already terminated virtually the whole Civil Rights and Civil Liberties Office staff without any communication to Congress about your intent. And the only letter yesterday claiming all of the statutory responsibilities would be met, you sent a letter, but it conflicts certainly with the whistleblower disclosure that I received last week. So please explain to the committee why you are not following this law.
Well, Senator, we are following that law. Those offices that you referenced are still open and functioning and providing their duties as required, but they have been right-sized. Many times the Office of Civil Rights and Civil Liberties, or the Ombudsman Office, which you and I visited about before, had grown quite expansive. They were used as a political tool, suing and attacking each other and censoring individuals and not doing the job for which they were created. So we've right-sized them, put them back on mission, and if there would be an instance to where notification is required, I certainly will follow that.
Time has expired. Senator Moreno.
Thank you again.
If someone can use a ladder, should we just stop locking our front doors too? But it gets worse, way worse. Peters then complains about illegal immigrants being detained at Guantanamo Bay instead of ICE facilities. And brace yourselves, he says it's costing $100,000 a day per detainee to keep them there. Let that sink in. Folks, we're spending taxpayer money to fly illegals to Guantanamo, hold them there, and then, get this, fly them back to the U.S. again before deportation. Why? Why in God's name are we creating a round-trip vacation package for people who broke our laws? We've got ICE facilities all over this country. Most of them could house these individuals for about $165 a day. But instead, this administration and its bureaucrats have decided to waste millions upon millions of dollars doing political stunts instead of enforcing the law efficiently. It's almost like they want to bankrupt the nation while pretending they're being humane. Then we get to the fireworks. Senator Peters accuses Secretary Kristi Noem of violating the law, specifically for failing to notify Congress before restructuring the DHS, including laying off a bunch of bureaucrats in the Office of Civil Rights and Civil Liberties. And you know what? Good for her. Kristi Noem calmly explains that those offices had become bloated, useless, and politically weaponized. She said it flat out. These agencies were being used to SUE each other, censor individuals, and operate as ideological attack dogs rather than doing their actual jobs. Sound familiar? It's the same DC playbook we've seen from the DOJ, the FBI, and just about every three-letter agency run by radical leftists. Weaponize the office, punish the opposition, and pretend you're the victim when someone cleans house. So yes, she right-sized them. She didn't shut them down. She didn't break the law. She took the dead weight, cut it out, and got the department back on mission. And what does Peters do? He clutches his pearls and cries foul. Boo-hoo, some unelected bureaucrats got pink slips after years of wasting your money and undermining your freedoms. Here's the part that really gets me. Democrats like Peters love to preach about fiscal responsibility only when it comes to border security. They'll scream, what about the cost? Every time you mention building a wall or enforcing the law. But when it comes to gender studies programs in Pakistan, or $700 toilet seats at the Pentagon, or $100,000 a day detention resorts for illegals. Crickets. Where was this concern when Biden sent over $100 billion to Ukraine with no audit? Where was this concern when the IRS got billions to hire 87,000 new agents to come after middle-class Americans? It's all political theater, folks. They don't care about costs. They care about control. So why all the fuss over Noem reorganizing DHS? Because the radical left doesn't like losing control of its internal tools of power. Offices like civil rights and civil liberties at DHS had morphed into partisan think tanks, not watchdogs. They were meant to protect constitutional rights, but instead they were spying, censoring, and pushing a left-wing narrative. Noem pulling the plug on that gravy train has them panicking. And the whistleblower complaints. Please. Since when did the left start caring about whistleblowers again? Oh, right, only when it suits their agenda. Look, patriots. What this moment proves is simple. We need bold leaders like Kristi Noem who aren't afraid to cut through the bureaucratic noise, slash bloated budgets, and actually do their job. We don't need more bureaucrats. We need results. Senator Peters' priorities are exactly what's wrong with Washington. He'll throw a fit over people being held in detention facilities, but he won't lift a finger to secure our border, protect our families, or defend our Constitution. If we're going to save this nation, it won't be through cowardice or compromise. It's going to take bold, unapologetic patriots who are willing to speak the truth, even when the swamp hates them for it. So to Kristi Noem, keep going. And to the rest of us, stay loud, stay proud, and never stop fighting for real American values. If you're tired of the lies, the waste, and the endless corruption, subscribe to Right View Nation right now. Hit that notification bell, drop a comment with your thoughts, and share this video with every red-blooded American who's had enough. This is Right View Nation, signing off. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Stay armed with truth. Stay fearless.